Hey guys, how y'all doing? My name is Kieran, and this is Fox Up RPG. So today I'm joined by John Clark. He is the guy behind Dark Forest. Essentially, it's Redwall meets 1E for Shadowdark. Now, this is something which John had contacted me several months ago. He sent me a preview PDF of the game he had. I looked at it on the channel. Since then, it has expanded by 101 pages, not including any of the stretch goals he's hit on this project, which has blown up like crazy. I think everyone here is going to enjoy it. If you haven't already looked at Kickstarter, have a check on it. I'll obviously leave a link in the description and the pinned comment where you can find the Kickstarter and any social medias that John has. And again, John, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Well, thank you for everything. Again, like I always say this, it's creators like yourself which enable idiots like me to able to talk about games, have a good time, and I love having people on to discuss what they're doing or what they have done. So, what is your project?
Dark
that's
Forest.
that's the most opening question. Yeah,
Yeah,
Dark Forest.
it's a campaign supplement for the Shadowdark RPG, and so it's a campaign setting that has a basis in the I would just say I'm pulling from the DNA of the Redwall series of
Mhm.
books, which are some of my favorite books in the world, like forever. And so I've used that as sort of the DNA to infuse into this project. That said, it's still Dungeons and Dragons. It's still old school feeling because we're using the Shadowdark RPG rule set as the engine
Yeah.
that drives it, and so it has that D&D magic in it. Whereas Redwall is animals, and there are some giant sentient snakes that can hypnotize people with their eyes, obviously, and
Yeah.
there are some strange monsters living in the lake, and leviathans, and sharks that are actually intelligent, and stuff like that. But there's no undead and that sort of stuff in Redwall. So that's the D&D part. So within the book, there's a huge bestiary, so you can choose. And there's I'm up to 90 new monsters now with my stretch goals. But I've
Yeah,
also
it's crazy.
like cherry picked and hand picked some of the monsters from the Shadowdark RPG, which is they're basically the SRD monsters, right? So they're
Mhm.
some reference document monsters. So I've pulled the ones that feel like, okay, that those could fit into the world. And then, so there's a handful of those in there. Plus there's the 90 new on top. So it's like a very full bestiary. So that's the D&D part. The red ball part is that all the animals you play, all the characters, the PCs, they're all animal ancestries, like mouse, badger, otter, squirrel, like owl folk and hawk folk, and dark wings, which are basically ravens or crows, and then you have hedgehogs and rats. Shrews are a big animal and are a big character in the Redwall books. They're the Gossam shrews, so they had to be in there for sure. And then and then aside from that, like the other half is the world is filled with vermin, and vermin are a term that Brian Jacques used to describe all the jerks, right? So it's like and the people of Redwall referred to them
The
as
non-civilized.
non-civilized, warlike,
Yeah.
they just take what they want kind of folk
Yeah. The
that live some,
barbarians
yeah, pirates
storming
basically.
the castles. In this
Exactly.
case, the barbarians storming the forests
Yeah.
and the little societies they have, the little villages, the towns. I'll bring up the Kickstarter page so people can have a look at what we're talking about better. But again, this is absolutely incredible. I showed already the copy you sent me there a couple, I think about 2.5 months ago or so, but it
Yeah.
expanded massively. So if you guys want, I'll leave a link in the description where you can check that out so you get an idea what we're talking about here. But again, it's been expanded massively, and you guys are going all out here, and I absolutely love it. The art
Yeah.
style is amazing. You said you've done a good amount of the art, and as well, you have some other artists doing stuff with you.
Well, I say the majority of the art that you see on the Kickstarter page is my art, my illustrations.
Oh my
So
god!
um, I'm an artist. I've always been an artist. I discovered a tool back. I did a card game called Monster Stomping Heroes, which was my first Kickstarter, like way back in 2018, and uh, I was illustrating it by hand, and I was using I would do illustrations. I'd scan it, I bring it into Photoshop, and then I would do paint, like ink and paint it in Photoshop, and it
Yeah.
was a real process. And then at work, like one of my employees at work had an iPad, and I'd never used an iPad, and he had the pencil, like the first version of the iPad and the pencil. And I'm like, what's that thing? Because he was illustrating on it for fun, like as a hobby. And I'm like, and he showed it to me, and I was like, I'm getting one of those. And so I learned how to use Procreate on the iPad. And so so now I'll sketch something on paper. I'll take a picture of it with my iPad, and I'll bring it into Procreate, and then I'll start drawing and doctoring. Or sometimes, I mean, it's really hard for me to not draw on paper first because I'm just, when I start trying to sketch something in Procreate, it doesn't seem to flow the same way as it does on paper.
It's like a feel
Yeah.
thing.
But once I
Paper
get
is a
past
different,
that
yeah.
stage, then it's good.
Yeah.
But I'm getting better. I'm getting to the point where I like that acorn, for example, and I always use reference. So like I can draw an acorn in Procreate without having to do it on paper first. But
Yeah.
complicated stuff like the rabbit there with the sword, which by the way, that's an homage to the very first Dungeon Master screen that I had.
That's why I stopped here, because I was going to say it literally looks like Orcus, but it's like a Wolfix. Wolfix.
Yeah, the statue in the back is an homage to the
Yeah.
player
I had
book.
to. That's why I stopped there, because I was like, oh.
I'm
Yeah.
like, I
If
have
you
to
know,
throw
you
that.
know.
That's going to be on my, so I have a GM screen, and that's going to be on the GM screen, and the center,
yeah.
center image of the GM screen.
That's amazing.
Specifically, I did that specifically as an homage to my roots, because I started playing D&D in 1979 with my brother, and it was and by 1980 we'd already bought the monster manual and the player's handbook and the Dungeon Master's Guide.
Yeah. That's awesome. But
Yeah.
like there's so much in here. Like the monsters. I've said this before, but the idea you have all these lovely little creatures, they're nice, they're like civilized, sophisticated, and you have these horrible, demonic looking monsters. It's like you took nature, you twisted it, put it through hell, came back. I was like, no, that's not enough. Put it back in there for a while, let it cook for a while, and send it back in. I'm like, oh, here you go. Here's this tentacle looking like mole monster. And you have, like, again, you have this continent you're in. You've got so much. It's kind of mind blowing.
Those monsters, the ones you were showing, they were done by Earl Geier, I believe his last name is Geier, and Sparker Castillo. So yeah, I'm not doing all of the art in it, obviously, but I have a team of artists: Ken and James, Andrew Beckwith, Philippe Faria, Yuri Burkowski, Mazarak, and Sparker and Geyer and Dean Spencer. I've licensed some stuff from Drive Through RPG from him. So a minority of the art is sort of licensed spot art and filler art. The vast majority is custom art that our team is doing. It's definitely art centric. Not every page has art on it, but I'm trying to do as much as we possibly can afford to do, because I want the book to look great on my shelf, and to be able to flip through it and enjoy the art.
Yeah, like, again, that's one thing about Shadowdark as well. The art informs the feel of everything. Then you have brief descriptions of the creatures and stuff going on, but then you have the world you and others have created, but in this case yourself, obviously. Like here, I looked over on the preview copy you sent me there a while ago, but again, you have settlement stuff, you have locations, factions, times a year for different facilities, celebrations, the gods, rumor tables, all that stuff. You've taken that stuff is in Shadowdark, but you've created your own to make it fit in the world. And again, random encounters, everything like that.
Well, I found that I had
know
to.
the base, if you just know the base rules of Shadowdark, pick
Yeah,
this this book up, and you can go crazy for a long time.
that's
And
true.
it's
I mean,
not a small book either.
no, it's going to be great. I mean, I
Yeah.
definitely encourage everyone to go out and buy the Shadowdark book, if you can
Oh
afford it,
yeah, absolutely.
because that
It's
will,
amazing.
yeah, yeah, it's amazing. And you do need the core rules. You need the rules
Yeah.
for character creation, combat,
Yeah.
crawling, you know, death timers and torch timers, and all that stuff's in the Shadowdark book. But what I found is like, if I when I was doing this, I was reading the Shadowdark's encounter tables, random encounter tables, and it's all filled with goblins, and it's filled with all kinds of stuff that doesn't exist in this world. So I'm like, oh boy,
Yeah.
I got to rewrite all of these. I'm not done yet. So the tables are in there, but most of the content is like placeholder, because I didn't even have most of the monsters created when I threw the tables in there. So I've got to go back, and so there's a lot of editing to do.
Yeah.
And then even I have the fumble charts in there, if you roll them on, which is really fun. You can go to the fumble charts at the back, and even those come from my 5e fumble charts. So I'm still re-editing all those to use the Shadowdark rules. There's tons of stuff left to do, but it is, all the bones are in place. Just a lot of
Yeah.
editing, a lot of
This
editing.
is very clearly a massive passion project as well. Like the amount of love and care you're putting in. Like I said, it's inspired by the book series which you loved yourself. Obviously you're working with your wife as well to do this.
Nicole, yeah,
Nicole, yeah. It's
yeah,
right there. I'm blind. I'm
yeah.
wearing glasses.
We all we all test play, and my daughter and my
Yeah.
brother-in-law, and I have a big in-law family. They're all Dungeons and Dragons crazy, and so um,
That's handy. You're like,
they're,
be brutally honest. Is this bad or good?
yeah, no, they love it. They're all excited
Yeah.
about it. So
Because again, like even when I was reading it, I was like, oh, I was like absorbed in everything you were done, and you've like a lot of stuff there was like spelling errors here and there. You've
oh yeah,
changed some of the classes and how things work. Obviously, that's normal. That's gonna happen up until basically editing's finished anyway.
well yeah,
But like
yeah, that's the tough part for me is of course editing, and also
yeah,
Shadowdark's pretty new to me. In my I spent for a good amount of time I was a professional dungeon master. Starting in 2018, I threw up a website called Dungeon Master for Hire, with the number 4 in there, and I was in Los Angeles at the time, and I started getting instant work, and I was charging
wow,
a lot, right? Because I have a full-time job. I'm like, I gotta like keep this to like a minimum. I just thought it'd be like really fun, because I was writing 5e content for Riot Games at the time. I was working at Riot Games on a TV series called Arcane, and so
oh
this was like
wow,
another side. Yeah, that's what I do
oh my god,
that's my day job. I work in animated
okay,
feature film mostly, but I did the Arcane season 1. But I was at Riot Games and having a blast. I was there for like 3.5 years, and at some point I was able to start working on, and I was playing Pathfinder at the time, because when
mm,
Wizards created 4E, all of us, like, I mean, I was running the Dungeons and Dragons. I founded the Los Angeles Dungeons and Dragons meetup group, and by the time 4E came out, I had almost 1,000 members in the meetup group. So, and we had these huge meetups, and Wizards would send me stuff, and it was super fun. But then they put out 4E, and everybody switched to Pathfinder. I mean, like the entire community switched to Pathfinder. There were some kids who kept playing 4E, but everyone like my age, we were like, no. And Pathfinder, yeah. Pathfinder did this amazing thing where they let us test play. It was like the
yeah,
community, and give feedback, and that was awesome. We got, they sent you a paperback, for like $10 or something, and
mm,
then you test, you give your online feedback, and so we had like multiple campaigns going to Pathfinder. So, and
that's so cool.
we sort of never looked back. So I was like, all right, Pathfinder
Yeah,
forever. And then Wizards is like, oh, let's steal that idea and do exactly what they did. And so they did their own community thing for 5e, right, where they got community 5. And so we all were like, oh, okay, we know what you're doing, but we'll give you our feedback. And so we did that, and they created 5e. I still didn't play it. I was like, nah. and so because Pathfinder was just so good. So
Hmm.
when so when so but it did become bigger, right? So it, like the growth of D&D, like 5e, it just exploded. It became really really popular. It's a very easy game to learn. For it's a lot less top heavy than like Pathfinder, and so people really jumped on it. But we did, like, the hardcore people just didn't really go back instantly. But I did, because I started working on these 5e materials. I'm like, shoot, I got to learn 5e now. And and so I
Yeah,
dove.
you kind of have to go where the business
Yeah,
is as well, because you need to make a living. You need to make money. You can't just be always putting stuff out and be like, oh well, I'm barely getting by with this. It's not like recovering money. It's just getting in the black. Like, you need to.
yep. And
Passion
then,
will get you so far, but you need a little bit back as well.
oh yeah, I
It's
mean, you got to be
you need it.
flexible. And so
Yeah.
if you want to play in this community. And so yeah, that was it. Like, when I started learning 5e, and I realized, okay, everybody's now playing 5e except for like hardcore people. And then so when I started like the Dungeon Master for Hire, the majority of the people I was playing with, it was either like a bachelor party for some dudes who hadn't played since like 1985, and they're all getting back together again, and
That's
they're
cool.
hired me, and or it was like a birthday party, or whatever. It's like it was just, I was always like a big group. And then there was a lot of people who'd never played before, and there was like movie producers. They wanted to play with their kids. They played when they were a kid, and that kind of stuff. So I had a lot of,
Yeah, yeah.
and it was Los Angeles. So I was like, I had some crazy clients, like you wouldn't believe, and I charged a lot too. And,
You
and
get like PTSD flashbacks. Like,
yeah,
"Ah."
they actually interviewed me in Bloomberg magazine, like me and two other professional dungeon masters. This was like 2018 or 2019, like when this thing was brand new, and this was like the
Mm.
first article, like major news article ever done about it. And then like actually GQ came out and interviewed me in like 2000, 2000
Guys,
and
he's flexing hard today.
no, I'm serious, like 2006. And the guy, the reporter came out to Los Angeles. I'm a surfer too, so I took him surfing. He was, we did a big meetup, and I taught him how to play Dungeons and Dragons. We were playing like 3.5 at the time, and great big interview. Never came out. The article got killed because the editors were like nobody likes Dungeons and Dragons. This is not.
Oh my
So that, but like flash forward like 13 years, and it's like, Dungeons and Dragons, the new craze in America. And
god.
so they
The
so
new
they did a
craze
big,
has been around since the
big
70s.
article on it. Yeah. So the
But
business
I
kind
had
of
to say,
exploded. But like literally, like, I mean, I started, and then COVID came, and that's when it really went crazy. So, and I had to start just
yeah,
turning down work because I had a full-time job. I'm like, no, I can't do this more than twice a week. And so, because when you're a DM, you gotta, like, and these people were hiring me to do full-blown campaigns, and so,
mm,
a campaign takes a lot of
not
prep.
just like a game or two here and there or
No,
every
no, these
weekend.
were
It's
one
like,
shots.
no,
Yeah,
we want a
yeah,
minimum 6 months.
yeah. So I was running like campaigns. I turned down pretty much any job that had a kid younger than 12. I was like, nope. So it was just turning down work, but it was on Roll20. I probably did like 3,000 hours of dungeon mastering. And so it was all 5e, and so it's sort of stuck in my brain. So when I started writing for this book for Shadowdark, even though I had the Shadowdark book, I have it, and I got the rules, and I've test played it, and I've been in some games, and then ran a little campaign and everything. When I write, I still throw things in, like terms that are not Shadowdark, like saving throw.
Yeah.
And I've been called
Yeah.
out on it,
We
like,
need a wisdom check. A wisdom check.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I've been called out on it multiple times already. So that's I'm going through it and like getting all that stuff clean and Shadowdark. I
Yeah.
mean, I love the fact that you're not making saving throws. I mean, I love how the spell system works. How you're doing a spell check. The more I play it, the more I love it. That is such a cool way to run that.
Yeah. The whole thing with Shadowdark is it's very simple, but it's very competent in everything it does. It executes everything very well. It's easy to understand. It's laid out exceptionally well, to the point of where I think a small child with some basic understanding of English can quite easily understand it and play it. Which maybe they shouldn't, because might get some nightmares. But yeah, I love it. I think it's a great system, and it's a good middle road system in terms of it's, like I said, it's easy to learn, it's quick to learn, but it's going to bridge the gap between different types of players. You're going to have your old school players, who've played Beck.me or even ODD back in the day, can jump in and enjoy themselves with some of the new mechanics. And again, the way the classes and some of the new mechanics actually work are going to help bring maybe people who've only played 5e or Pathfinder in as well. And they're going to get them into the mentality of, you're probably going to die a few times. You're not a superhero. You're, in this case, a little mouse warrior or a shrew going on the world trying to survive all these horrible mutated monsters and creatures from hell or from the Shadowdark. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. I call it
But
the
yeah,
deep in mine.
I have to say, when you started talking about 4E, I was laughing internally. The first game I ever played was 4E,
Oh, okay.
but we had a 4E and a Pathfinder game at the same time campaign that both lasted 2.5 years. And then the only reason it stopped is because people had college and work and stuff like that, and they're all over the place. But it was quite funny. People always talk about 4E. I'm like, I liked it.
You know what? Like,
But then
it wasn't
we had
bad.
Pathfinder at the same time, which is like, there's like, one's basically like a mini skirmish game with like role play, and the other is much easier to theater than mind type play and stuff like that, which I do enjoy.
Yeah.
Myself.
But yeah. Once I actually did play 4E, and actually, one of the guys I played with, he's actually a neuroscientist, and he owned a publishing company called Radiance House, and he put out some really cool 4E material, and we played a bunch of campaigns with that. But it was all entirely his build, like on the D&D stuff. So with all his races and character classes and everything. And that's when I actually started really enjoying 4E, when I was playing the Radiance House products. And again, he did the old school illustrations, and he hired out some illustrators to do some really cool old school stuff. So it was like old school 4E. And he had some before Wizards or anyone ever did it. He invented a system. It's patrons, right? And it's very much like the Warlock from 5e. So, but he put this out before 5e came out. So he had the whole Warlock patron thing going, but every single character class had the patrons. And so, so you would pick your patron, and then you go to your patron's like page, and you have like this huge list of really cool things that you could choose from as you level up with your pact. And you can have like multiple packs, and it was this really amazing like web system that he tacked on to 4E that brought this whole patronage and pact magic thing into every single class, and it was super fun. Yeah. So Dario, he was the guy.
I'll say one more thing about 4E.
Yeah.
The best way to look at 4E is think of it as a miniature skirmish game with role playing.
Yeah.
It's not AD&D. Okay.
No.
It's a miniature war game with role play aspects to it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Anyway, it was probably super fun. But for all of us like old school people, it was like, what the heck is this? You know, we were like, this is not what we want. You know, and then you had Paizo up there going, hey guys, here's what you want. And we're like, yeah, that's what we want. We want to take 3.5. We want someone to fix all the rules and make it better, and then keep going down that path.
Clean it up a bit, lay out better, make everything make a bit more sense.
Because some of stuff was a bit. In Pathfinder's world, Galarion was like one of the best campaign settings still to this day. I don't think anyone's ever written a better campaign setting than Galarion. I ran so many campaigns in that world. I loved it. Even after I started playing 5e, I was like, I'm not going to run this anywhere but Galarion. So
Pathfinder back in the day was, the idea of it was to basically have one edition. Sadly, that did not happen.
No. I haven't played Pathfinder 2. I've got it sitting on my shelf back there.
Yeah, me either.
But
I look at it, I'm like, this is a bit all over the place. It feels like don't
And
like
so
the
the
layout. I don't like
world
the
is tough.
structure of statistics and stuff like that. I don't like it. I know a lot of people like that actually.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
let's get back to your game for
all
a
right.
second.
And we could geek out all day. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. We'd be all over the place. Soon we'd be talking about like how you're actually getting into the rocket business. You know, going to the moon or Mars or something like that because you seem to be ridiculously talented and
No, no.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
I work in animation, so that's I mean,
yeah,
there aren't
you're
many
gonna
of us.
build up models for for
Just
NASA or something.
exactly.
But yeah, uh, but yeah, like you have everything laid out in here, and as well, like the pricing of this is extremely fair in my opinion. Like the digital edition is $19. You have the hardback, which is 40, which is insane. Again, you have the digital bundle, which is going to come with it's two adventures, isn't it? No, a player journal and an adventure, and you have all the stretch goal, digital, the BTT stuff. You have your printed bundle, which is going to be the same thing, but everything printed. You have the complete set. It has a bunch of dungeons and stuff like that, some cards. I think that's your fumble table stuff here.
Yeah, the fumble deck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I have the
that's so
fumble deck.
cool.
Yeah, I have the 5e version of it as well, so I'm just
Yeah,
converting it over.
and then you have some awesome STLs, which
Yeah, the
I
STLs,
love.
like here's
Oh,
one right there.
oh, wait, give me a sec. I'll bring it up on full screen.
There's the Badger. I don't. It's probably not in focus. There we go. But this is just regular filament printer down at the library. It costs $1.25 to print it, and you just get a pair of tweezers and and a little
Yeah.
pair of pliers, and you got to pull off. I'll show you the supports. There's these little supports, and they just sort of pop right off. But so we have a great artist. We have a couple artists that are doing these for us. There's the owl again, like printed
Nice.
really, really nice. You just pop the supports off.
Eldelf. I've been calling him Eldelf for a while. Anytime I look at it, I just think Eldelf.
That is a great idea. He's a classic wizard. He's got the wizard hat on, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
uh,
This looks
yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
Oh,
that's the hair. So we're still tweaking them. Like his spear
yeah.
is too delicate and thin, so we got to thicken that up. And but we print them and test print them, and then we sent them to a painter, and she test printed it as well, and did some really cool live painting on them. And then now we have 4 more because we hit that stretch goal. So
Mm,
so I put out a poll to get, because and with all the remaining ancestries, there's a poll now where you can go and sign in and choose which ancestor you want. I know I can see which ones are winning right now. I'm not going to announce it, but I can see which ones are winning. So I'm already starting to work on the art, because I have to illustrate them first, and then once it's
yeah.
illustrated, then I send it to the artist. So so for me, that's 4 more full character illustrations to do, unless I can pull something from something that I've already done. But we also have a new class, 2 new classes. One is the Reaver. It's basically a wild fighting barbarian type, and that was a
Cool.
stretch goal. And
I'm
it's
thinking sort of like Braveheart in my head.
yeah, think like Blood Rage, and which is
Yeah, yeah.
an actual thing from the Redwall books, where especially it's the Badger Lords, the true Badger Lords have this problem, and it's called Blood Rage. And in some of the books, it actually is like a problem. Like there was one of the Badger Lords. Her name was Craiga Rose Eyes, and she would just go insane, like I mean, really insane. And her troops couldn't control her, and
Mm.
she would just fly into a blood rage. I don't know if you've read The Blade Itself by Joe
No, no,
Abercrombie.
no.
Same. I think he must have gotten that idea from Brian Jacques. I mean, it all goes back to, and Brian Jacques talks about it in the interviews. It all goes back to, of course, Norse mythology, and the rages of
Yeah,
the
they
berserker.
drink alcohol and have mushrooms,
Yeah,
and they like pour animal blood into like the helmets or wolf heads, put it on, so they
right.
have like a mane of blood coming over them, and they're
Yeah,
charging the battle off their heads. Brilliant.
exactly. Like twirling their battle
Feel no
axe.
fear. Yeah.
That was so that all, and then Brian Jacques put that in there. I'm like, all right, let's do that class. So and then the other new class is still being voted on, but and I'm going to announce it. I'm going to put out an update today to announce it, but I'm already working on art
Awesome.
for it, because I can see in the poll which one is the winner.
It's
But
like a clear winner at this stage as well, is it?
it's
It's like,
clear, yeah, like
okay, yeah. It's like
yeah,
40 points ahead or something.
way ahead. It's not even by a small margin. So,
Okay,
which is great. I'm excited because it sort of feeds into something else that I'm adding to the book. So
that's
great.
awesome. Yeah, I love 3D printing. I've been 3D printing for the last 5 years.
Oh, cool.
Brilliant. I love it. Yeah, I do resin mostly, but oh my god, I've been starting 3D printing again because, like I said before we got on here, we should be moving to a new house in soonish, and I can't
Congrats.
wait. Gonna have my own room. It's gonna be my own gaming room. It's gonna have all my books, everything on the walls and the shelves, and my 3D printer in the corner, my computer on the other side for editing and all that. Oh, I can't wait. But yeah. So I've been getting that itch again. I want to do more painting. So when I saw like you were having the STLs when you had it on the preview page, I was like, oh, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
it was a just to do it to begin with was a stretch for me in my mind, right? Because I
Mhm.
knew the challenge of finding, how hard it'd be to find an artist, to sculpt it to the way I wanted it, and to work with that artist, and it's expensive, and so
Yeah,
um, just putting the first four up there, I was like, all right, we'll do these four. Um, Maybe we'll do a stretch goal, like way out stretch goal. So we hit that way out stretch goal in like 4 days to do
like your
four
first
more.
day on the Kickstarter, for people who
Yeah,
don't know, it was like 40,000 or close to, I think it was, maybe more. I can't remember.
yeah,
It was insane. And like, I finished work and it launched. I woke up, saw the email. Oh, cool! So I'm gonna click back it. I click on email to go back. And I was like, what the? Jesus! I was
so
shocked. Like I thought I'd do really well, but I was
it,
like
it
I
caught,
thought like
caught me by
30,
surprise.
40 would be the tops, but that was like the first day.
Yeah, the those other STLs you see there. So my wife
Yeah.
Nicole had an idea. She's like, because we're playing, and she just doesn't like erasing torches from her character sheet all the time.
Okay.
She's like,
Yeah.
why let's just make torch STLs that people can print out. She's like, I want my little bag of torches, and I want my bag of rations, and then there's also luck tokens there. So I'm like, that's a freaking awesome idea because I want that too. So now instead of
Yeah.
having now you'd be like, okay, here's my three torches, and you can throw them back in the bag as you use them, and then you can have and then you can again with your luck token, you can just turn it in when you use it, and then your rations, like it's like people who don't play Shadowdark, your gear slots are super important. I mean,
Yeah.
just like they were when we played AD&D, your gear slots, the amount of you can carry before you're encumbered is super important. You can carry more than your gear slots, but you're going to have disadvantage in almost everything that you do,
Yeah.
unless it involves your brain. Um, so it is a really, really important thing. And also, I like how Kelsey makes torches cost 5 silver pieces each. So it's a resource. It is a precious resource. Each one of your torches, because there's no dark vision, which I love, and
Yeah. It's
I
definitely
mean,
makes the things more tense.
as a dungeon
Even
master,
dwarfs.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
for me, it was so hard in 5e to create fear, to get players to feel afraid. And the main thing that I struggle with a dungeon master is because everybody can see everything all the time, right?
Yeah.
Everyone, like, there's the minority of races, the very minority don't have dark vision. Almost everybody's got dark vision. So, and when you're playing, with a group, I mean, how many people actually play a human anymore? Only people who want to min max, right? Those are the humans because they want to get the extra feat. And I'm talking 5e. I'm not sure about 5.5, but uh, now you can pretty min max every single race because you can do anything you want with any race. You can have a halfling with 18 strength right off the bat. So it's like, which makes no mental sense to me. It's like I can't even picture it, which is the other
The
problem.
mini Hulk. The mini
Yeah,
Hulk.
exactly. It's like, how's
Yeah.
a tiny guy like stronger than the half orc? Oh well, he is. But that's why, like, one of my other Kickstarters, which was one of my most successful, probably my most successful was when I put out a book called the Old School Rules for 5e, and so I actually had 1,100 backers for that, and I realized that I hit a nerve with that because it was a nerve with me too. I had all these huge lists of house rules, so when I would run a game, I would be like, okay, I'd send everybody my house rules. Like, here's my house rule, and it was a big list of house rules because my desire was to bring in fear. Like I wanted the fear factor. I wanted resources to be precious. So I was like, you guys were playing with encumbrance. You can't carry 1,000 gold pieces around. Like you're gonna have to keep track of your encumbrance. You're gonna have to keep track of we're doing rations. You're gonna have to keep track of all that stuff. And not only that, like magic. So I had rules on spamming your firebolt and your ray of frost, and all the cantrips. It's like, okay, so like any wizard can just walk into any town and just kill everybody, right? So that's how 5e is set up. If you had an evil wizard, because you can, like, every 6 seconds you can do another firebolt, or just wipe out a town, right? So and I've heard responses to this from even the creators. They're just like, oh no, you can't, because the town would rally and they'd have their militia come out and they'd throw you in jail. It's like, okay, well, what if you took them by surprise? What if you drank a potion of invisibility? I don't know, but there was just like to me, there were so many broken things about 5e that didn't annoy me until I became like a full-time dungeon master, and that's when it really started bothering me. So I put out the 5e house rules, and right about that same time, Shadowdark was launched, and I'm like, hang on, this thing looks cool, and I was reading about it, and I was like, wait a minute, this is actually what I'm looking for, and because it takes the idea that you're invulnerable, and it just gets rid of it, and and what that does mentally, and what I found when I apply my house rules in 5e, is that suddenly players felt a lot more engaged, and they would go in and they would start using their imaginations, right? So it's like, well, and even my last 5e module that I did, adventure, it was like a full campaign adventure. I had a rule in there, and I didn't even know about I had just learned about the Shadowdark, like no dark vision rule. I had a rule in there for the dungeon crawl that's in there. There was like a thing called Netherdark, and I'm like, no one can see a Netherdark. Dark vision doesn't work in Netherdark. And so I had all these areas of the dungeon that were just pure Netherdark. And so
it's like darkness spell, like always in effect, that couldn't be broken or something.
That's right. It worked, right? So like a torch would light about half its normal distance, right? So you could still your Netherdark, you could still see, but you couldn't use any kind of magical light at all. And then all the monsters in there can see in Netherdark. And so anyway, Kelsey solved all that with Shadowdark, which is great. So now players actually can feel scared. Yeah.
It's very interesting because, like, you were coming up with this stuff for your own games when you were running things for people, or either for your friends. You then have Kelsey come out with like Shadowdark at around that same time, but you had a lot of people in general looking backwards.
Yeah.
Because they were sick of. I played 5e a couple times. I never liked it, to be honest. It wasn't fun to me. That's just me. I know plenty of people love it. I know people who do. I'm like, that's great. If you love something, you should enjoy it, and that's fine. It wasn't for me. But it's like the OSR sort of stuff started coming back more and more, be more prevalent. And she just got on the perfect time. It was pure coincidence. She was working on this for a few years, two or 3 years, I believe. And, it's just everything just hit lined up at the same time. Wizards, like, pooped the bed, so to speak. At the same time she's about to launch it, and it's like, oh my god, it's like the stars aligned, the rituals were done.
I did. I think that there were a lot of conversations going on at the time about
one tension of like people adventuring and not being a bunch of superheroes with near vulnerability from level 1. Like if you go play any old school game, if you're like a level 10 character, you can still get your ass kicked. Of course, you might have armies and domains and stuff like that, say you're starting to build them up, but you can still get assassinated by an assassin, literally an assassin. You know, someone could poison you. You make your save, whatever it is, you die. There you go. Cool. You spent like how long building that character up, and now they're dead. Deal with it. There's level 1. Go. So I like that sort of stuff. It builds
Oh, I do
tension.
too.
It creates story naturally without having to write novels. You
Yeah.
know.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, I think that
that's just me.
there's a rule, and I you know, I've been in filmmaking my whole career, my whole life, like 35 years. So, and there's a rule, and I've written a lot of scripts too, but there's a rule, it's essential throughout, especially in any script at all. It doesn't even matter if it's like rom-com, you need the threat of death, right? So it doesn't have to be, romantic comedy, whatever. It doesn't have to be like real death. It's the analogy of the threat of death, right? You
Hmm.
don't have a stalker or someone going to kill somebody for real, but there is the threat of death, like the death of the soul, the death of love, the death of something, right? So, but in adventure movies, it's the actual death, right? So if the threat of death isn't in there, then you don't engage the viewer, right? They're just not going to
Yeah.
be with you. The threat of losing the game, right? So I'm working on a movie called Goat right now, which we're just finishing up, and it's a sports movie. So what's the threat of death in the sports movie? Losing the championship, like losing the whole
Yeah.
team, losing everything, right? So if you don't have that, and that's where, and I love 5e. Actually, I'm one of the people who enjoyed playing it because it was so easy for me to teach people how to play it. I think that's one of the,
Hmm.
as a dungeon master, the good side of it was like, man, I can have people playing this game. I would just give them a preamble. And after I'm done my preamble, take like 10 minutes, everybody's playing, right? And I could
Hmm.
get people playing the game. I'd be like, here's your character sheet. Don't worry about all that stuff. Tell me what you want to do. I'll tell you what you need to roll, and I'll show you where it is on your sheet. And like literally, and I would just get them engaged and going, and it would take like 10 or 15 minutes, and they're playing the game. So that's what I loved about it. There's no possible way to do that with Pathfinder or with 3.5. But the things I didn't like about it is like once you get past that point of now I know how to play the game, because when you're just a beginner, it's like, yeah, you are engaged, you are using your imagination. This is all new, right? But once you
Yeah.
learn the game and you start learning the rules, you're like, oh, so, and you start talking to other players. It's like, well, hey, if I have this potion, I give you this potion, and you have that spell, and then they start synergizing with each other, and all of a sudden, it's like they become invincible at second level,
Yeah.
and they
We
figure that
basically have
out.
a magical and nuclear weapon.
They figured it out really quick. I mean, I had a new group. I'm like, I'm just gonna run the Fandellin campaign with them. This new group, right? And there's in the Fandellin this campaign. This is way back. There's this white dragon that's always flying around, and you got to roll to see where the dragon is. And so I rolled randomly, and they're going through this area. I'm like, oh, and so I described like you hear a roar, and you look up in the sky, and suddenly spreading its wings out above you, a shadow flashes over you, the shape of a dragon, and there were 6 players, and they were all pretty new. This was like their very first campaign, and there was a bunch, and they were kids. I didn't usually run with kids, but it was the dad and his 4 sons and their friend in Ireland, and they were all super funny and like really great. It was an awesome family. But anyway, they had they had a sorcerer with them, uh, and Lex. Yeah, Lex played the sorcerer. And I think by this time he was like second level, whatever. And this is a young white dragon, right? And a young white dragon should be pretty terrifying for a party of
Yeah.
second level. And I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be terrifying. Now they're just going to take off and run. So I'm like, and the dragon does a wing over and comes straight down over you. And I'm like, what do you do? And he's like, um, and he's a sorcerer, right? So he's like, meta magic. I'm gonna twin spell a magic missile, and I'm like, how many meta magic points do you have? And or sorcery points do you have? And he's like, and I got 3. I'm like, okay. And, I knock 1 off or knock 2 off, and he's like, bam, 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 and I'm not kidding you. By the time the dragon got to attack, it had like 4 hit points left.
Oh my god.
And so so as a DM, I'm like, shoot. So like I add more hit points to it, right? I'm like, all right. So it wings over. I think it had like, you know, 45 hit points or something. So it wings over, and then it blasts you with, and they all make their saving throws, right? So I'm like, all right, so nobody died. And then it comes back again, and then okay, magic missile, got 1 more meta magic point left, and I think he did like a maximizer or something like that. And it's like, he would have killed it, right? It would have been dead if I hadn't like secretly boosted its hit points. He's
Yeah.
probably listening to this now. He's gonna be like, damn it, I killed that guy. So that just blew my mind. Like
Yeah, that's crazy.
that was like,
That's
this should not be possible.
yeah.
They weren't scared at all. There was like no fear. They didn't turn around and run. They're like, and they're all laughing about it later. And I was like, this is not my Dungeons and Dragons. This is not what I grew up
Yeah.
playing.
Like
You
a second level sorcerer in my mind would be like equivalent of you just finished I'm going to use US terms. You finish high school, you're in your first semester of your first year or second semester of your first year in college. You're not going to be able to, do brain surgery, but somehow you do. Because I've played with a few people who want to play 5e and then they come play Shadowdark or some old school type of game, and they're like, "Oh yeah, this is gonna be fine," and I'm like, "Okay." And I just go along with it, have a bit of fun role play. I don't care if a character dies. It's not me. I'm not literally dying. It's like, it's part of the game. It builds story and stuff like that. And then, oh yeah, this thing just comes along, clubs them on the head, squashing them into nothing, and they're like, what happened? I was like, you had 8 hit points. You do like D6 damage. You were fighting like this giant ogre creature. What do you expect? It's like, welcome to the real games, boys. But yeah, I love that stuff. But there's one thing you said earlier about the threat of death, and that is so true. This threat of death makes everything more intense. You have this, like, if you watch Toy Story, threat of death is in there. It's the threat of Woody being lost and forgotten about. He's metaphorically dying in the mind of Andy, and that's what he perceives is going to happen. Because he sees his whole world changing. He's no longer on the wall. You have Buzz Lightyear instead. That's the threat of death for Woody in that case. If children's movies and stories have the threat of death, us adults should have the threat of death in a role-playing fantasy game,
and
we shouldn't be able to be killed. We shouldn't be able to easily kill a young dragon.
Yeah. Especially what I discovered though with 5e is that if you have a party of 4 players, right? I think, and with a few house rules, it's in there. The threat of death is in there. There is some tension, but as soon as you put another one in, their power increases exponentially. And then when you have 6 in there, a party of 6 is literally, because of synergy, is twice as powerful as a party of 4. And so, all of their challenge ratings, first of all, their challenge ratings are completely off, like wrong. If you look in the monster manual, it's like, nope. If you DM for a long time, you're like, this is all just junk. You go on D&D Beyond. This is before 5.5, so I haven't played 5.5, so I don't know what it's like now. But with 5e, then you would go on their challenge rating, and they had a little thing where you could set up an encounter calculator, and I always found that was like way off, way too. But then there's the school of dungeon mastering where, well, you don't want every encounter to be dangerous. You want them to feel like heroes. And I'm like, and I've heard that, and I do get that, right? I do want them to win every now and then. I want them to feel like, I don't want them to feel like they're about to die in every single encounter. And so there's a balance there. But I think with Shadowdark, it's different. Like you don't balance that necessarily.
Like you said, I think you want to feel like you're a hero, but the only way you can be a hero is by overcoming an actual obstacle that's in the way, like a 20-foot wall versus a 2-foot wall.
Yeah.
There's a scale difference in terms of the risk to overcome.
That's a good analogy. I think with Dark Forest, there are a couple of things that I've done that, and also, at the beginning of the book, there's some rule suggestions. I'm going to change them more to suggestions rather than these are the Dark Forest, ways to build a character and that kind of stuff. So people can use standard Shadowdark rules, or they can take my suggestions, take it or leave it. But their characters are a tiny bit more powerful because each ancestry has one extra ability that I found I wanted to give the ancestries a little more flavor that is a mechanic. And so instead of just one single thing, like one ability, like in each ancestry has in Shadowdark, they each have two. And they're not like super powerful things. They're simple, pretty simple things. But they each have two, and each one of them plays into the ancestry. Like the badger. He has the ability to burrow for 5 feet as part of his move. And so those little extra things are going to give each ancestry a little bit more flavor. That's the
Yeah,
STL painted.
yeah, it's the Grimdark Barbie. Yeah,
Oh,
she's very
she's a
talented.
monster. Yeah,
Yeah,
she
she's a Twitch
painted the
channel as well, I
torchlight.
believe. Isn't she?
Yeah, yeah, she did.
Yeah,
And if she did the different angles, and I didn't realize that she painted the torchlight until I saw it from different angles. And I'm like, oh my god, that's actually painted onto his hat.
yeah, OSL lighting.
Yeah, which I've
Yeah, it's
never
so cool.
never done before when I painted miniatures.
I have done OSL, but not that great. It's very hard,
Oh,
and
she's
it
a
takes a
pro.
long time
Yeah,
to get right.
but yeah,
A lot of practice.
she printed that on her own filament printer.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have not
it's
printed
crazy.
yet on the resin on a resin printer. I'd like to see how they come out.
Yeah, I pretty much just print resin, but it's very I find it exceptionally easy to like when just given like you can find free files online for stuff, and a lot of the time you don't have any supports. It's very easy to put supports on, and just auto supports now are very good. I, for home printing, not if you're doing like a professional project, but like if someone gave me like STLs for some random thing or I found them online, I could do some supports in a few minutes and they work well. But like this, I think it's crazy. The last couple of years, the FDM printing, the quality has increased massively. It's it's not even it's almost to the level of resin in terms of the detail and the finer little details you can get on. Like a few years ago, if you had a mini or even an object with some small detail in the corner, that'd be all wiry and looking weird. But now it's relatively smooth and looks great. Like you see here, this is painted, so you don't see any real like lines or anything like that in place. It's
No,
crazy.
not at all. Like, I mean, yeah, I'm looking at it right here, and you don't see those heavy jagged
Yeah,
lines. It's
beautiful.
very smooth. Like
Yeah,
I'm really blown away by how incredibly well they print. Yeah,
technology is crazy.
I had a 3D printer like years ago, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna print all my 3D miniatures, and I downloaded them off Hero Forge and tried to print one, and I was like, no, did not happen. I'm like, no. So I just returned the printer, and I have too many hobbies already, so I sort of gave up on
Yeah,
it instantly. But yeah,
yeah.
Nicole is the printing. She's the printing pro. Even though we don't have our own printer, she works with the artist. She does the slicing. She angles it and makes the changes so that there's minimal supports on it. So she's the one
Mhm.
who does works with the artist and makes sure that they're all going to print well. Does all the test printing. I mean, they're so cheap to print in our library that we're like, well, and they have such good printers. They're like, well, why bother buying one? Because the library, we live 4 blocks from the library, so we literally just walk down there, and they're like, are the prints ready yet? Um, and
Yeah,
so
like 3 4 hours later, whatever the case might be, it's done.
yeah,
Yeah.
um,
But yeah, I think it's crazy. Like I printed off a bunch of minis there last week, and some of them were quite big, some were small. But like in terms of cost for the resin, it was like I think 60 cents or 40 cents, something like that.
oh, that's cheap.
Yeah, it's like nothing. And some of these weren't like tiny models either. Like I have printed off tanks, like big chunk boys. If you had like some 40K stuff, if you had some of the not super tanks, but like bigger than a Rhino, but smaller than one of the super tanks. I can't remember what they're called. I haven't looked at 40K in a long time because I don't like GW. But anyway, but like tanks I've printed off anywhere from 350 in resin to like 550 euro.
Hmm.
Now if you try to buy one of those 550 tanks that I got in resin, you're talking about like 60 euro or more.
Yeah. Wow.
So you can basically create a small, it's a big detachment of tanks. But yeah, I love it. But here, we're all over the place, but we're having a lot of fun. I think it's great.
This is fun.
No, but when I'm excited, I and happy and stuff like that, I go a bit over the place, kind of like yourself. But I think it's great. But the
That's cool.
art again, you have more samples of art here.
Yeah. So
It has
the
this like
art that
fairy
panel on
time
yeah,
feel
that's Mazarek, the panel on the upper right there. Um,
here.
yeah. So he's a friend with Andrew Beckwith, who did the panel on the lower left. And Andrew told me about him. He doesn't have an online presence. Um,
Oh wow.
and yeah, and he doesn't, and he kind of does his own thing, so he doesn't take a lot of instruction. But I found he did some like really awesome pieces that um, it just like blew me away. And it's just and he does it all on paper, and he's so fast. Like
I was
Andrew's
gonna
super
say that
fast.
looks like pencil.
Yeah, it's pen and ink, and
Yeah,
so
that's
um,
crazy.
and Andrew's the same way. And then Philippe, he did the one on the bottom right. Just
Oh yeah, the
yeah,
badger
and
lightning. That's so cool.
yeah,
And you have the thorns.
yeah.
Yeah,
Again, like these professional artists are so fast. You know, I'm getting
and yourself.
faster. Yeah, I'm getting faster, but I can't knock stuff out nearly as clean and fast as these guys are so good.
Like what I love about each of these art pieces here, they invoke a different feel that you're going to find in a game. You're deep in a dungeon or a ruin somewhere. You're fighting this monstrous creature, but then you have a festival time in a village or a town somewhere. But then you're out in the woods and you have like it looks like a druid and someone like they're trying to get information or learn something, and then you have a warrior, or like maybe a wizard fighting some torn creature in the forest or out in a clearing in the forest. Like you're getting a sense of the world and how everything should feel and be. It's not all grim, dark, and bleak. You have your towns and villages where there's going to be times of merriment and festivals, just like you would anywhere else in our own world. But they're all animals,
Well, I think
and
that's
obviously you have the
yeah.
fantastical element.
I think
It
that's
makes
one.
things more believable and more relatable to able to understand how to live and interact in the world you've created.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one of the themes of Redwall. Actually,
Mm,
there um, the there are times of peace, and during those times of peace, you want to enjoy those times of peace. You want to just revel in it. So the creatures of Redwall Abbey, they don't sit around dreading tomorrow, right? Even though they
mhm.
live in an extremely dangerous world, they live life. They live their lives in merriment and joy. And when times of trouble come, then they dig down deep and they handle that problem, right? And then that's when they can really buckle in and go to war if they have to. But that's one of the themes I wanted to build into this. Like, there when you're role playing in a world, it doesn't always have to be, the threat can be out there, but then there's these times when you want your players to be able to have a feast. And
Yeah.
that's one of the things I liked about Shadowdark was carousing. I couldn't really use the carousing rules as they're written because they doesn't fit into the theme of Dark Forest. So I've written a carousing like rules that is called feasting, which is a big deal in Redwall. And so feasting it uses the same type of mechanic, but it's more of a Redwall theme. And so players can earn experience points by throwing feasts and hosting feasts and helping out during feast time and that kind of stuff. So um,
Yeah, it's really. I think it's a great idea. The carousing stuff is brilliant, and it's. I think as people have learned more about Shadowdark and time has gone on, they're learning how to use them in different ways. It's not all meant to be just, oh, I'm going to the market. There's different events you can use. This the basic outline of the carousing is brilliant. And like I don't even know Chubby Foster, but he's great. He's an excellent Shadowdark creator and OSR creator in general. But he has able to take advantage and understand carousing differently to how other people, and more and more people are now starting to understand it, like yourself as well. Your carousing tables are going to help create a sense of culture, a time of year, events, holidays, whatever the case might be, or maybe you just had a big victory in battle. Then you have your celebration feast.
Yeah, I like
All
it.
this stuff. It helps. It's building on the world to create something, which again, anytime I've ever seen sort of animal stuff in RPGs, a lot of the time it's very cutesy cuddly.
Yeah,
There's some out there where it's not, but this is taking like real nice, happy, pretty animals and putting them into a realistic world, because the animal world is, at first you look at, it's so nice and beautiful, and the bear is ripping apart like an elk or something like
yeah,
that.
an eagle
you
tears
know,
his head off. Yeah,
yeah, first glance, but then you see the darkness that's naturally within our own world, and I think this is reflected in here as well.
I
You're
think
going to
that's
see a
what
bunch of bunnies in the field,
That's what Brian
like,
Jacques saw. That was what he
yeah,
saw in the world too. He's like, this isn't like a cute, fun world to live in. I mean,
yeah.
it's a dangerous world. Um,
I'm definitely gonna have to read those books.
yeah,
'Cause,
I mean,
it's definitely gonna be on my table.
I read them out loud. I'm on my 18th one in a row reading it out loud to my daughter right now. So we're
Oh,
actually I
nice.
just finished it. I just reserved the 19th in a row. I was reading them out of order, and then I went back and we started reading them in publishing order because I felt like I was missing out on a lot of lore. And
Mm,
I recommend not reading them in chronological order. I recommend them reading them in publishing order because he throws in all references to books that have already been written, and then when you're reading,
okay.
you're like, yeah, Craiga, I know her. She was in this book, and she was also in that book. So because a lot of time
Yeah.
passes, there's this huge passage of time often between the stories where you go to a whole nother generation, which is something that I find like a cool idea maybe to build into role playing also into RPGs is passage of time. I know there was some of that when
Yeah.
I have the older Middle Earth 5e books, and they have some of that built into the rules
Mm,
where the like large passages of time. And then
yeah.
I
I'm thinking of like Birthright for AD&D.
yeah,
Like the whole thing is about developing your bloodline and family, and like if you're playing, say, a few years of a campaign, you might be playing your first character's son or daughter or something.
mm-hmm.
Um, So I think I always like that sort. So it's fun, it's
Super cool.
interesting, and it forces the players to then try other options out there, because we all know there's going to be players who are always going to be. I'm always going to be the cleric in every single game, no matter what, because I like clerics. Which
Right.
I do like clerics, but I want to try different things, and it's a good way to force people to do that. And also, again, with these OSR, start going back to these classic way of playing games. Again, that's going to encourage players to like try different classes, because like you're not always going to live. So what
No.
I always do is I'll tell people create 2 or 3 characters, even if we're going in for a normal like level 1 simple adventure. You might have bad rolls, you might make a dumb decision, something happens. As that happens, I can just pull you back in, so you're not waiting around for half an hour or 40 minutes being
Mhm.
bored, because that's like the worst thing ever, sitting there and being like, oh yeah,
Oh, yeah. I
okay,
remember when I was a kid, me
yeah,
and my brother went over to, we didn't even, it was our friend's house and to play Dungeons and Dragons. And my brother and I had already been playing, together with another friend for, I don't know, like a year and a half. And we
hmm
showed up, we're all excited. I got my character. They're in, it was AD&D. They're like, okay, you're at the dungeon. What do you do? And then like, okay, we go in. He's like, an arrow comes shooting out and hits you. You're dead. And I had to go
trap.
home. Yeah, I literally had to go home. It was like I had just gotten there, and
Yeah, that's
yeah,
crazy.
I'm like, I remember my mouth just dropping open. Oh, what? He's like, "You're dead. You're gone. You can leave." I was like,
Oh my god, that's horrible.
I know. Yeah, for especially I was only 11, or yeah, I think I was
It
11.
turned out there was actually nothing there, and they didn't want you around. Like, I'm only babysitting.
Probably why he just killed me right off. Yeah, he
Because
didn't. He had no idea.
I've heard
I
similar
was,
stories.
yeah.
I've heard
He
similar
probably
stories to
he
that
probably
by
thought I didn't know
different
how to
people.
play, but I was like an expert by
Yeah,
the time I was 11. So,
that's crazy. Yeah.
but yeah,
Um.
it's not quite like that anymore.
Yeah, yeah. People are like, "Oh yeah, you want to play? Oh, that's awesome. I want someone to play with. That's cool."
Yeah,
Um. Yeah,
yeah.
I think people are a bit more forgiving and understanding, and I think it's gonna sound kind of cheesy, but a bit more tolerant in certain ways with people because they're like it can be hard to find people to play with, and sometimes you get quirky people, which life happens. There's different people out there,
Yeah.
and you might have to be a bit softer touch with certain things. Explain things a little more, go through things, just to keep the peace in a way, but not babysit either. You need to, you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, it's like
Yeah, you're trying to be nice and then let everyone enjoy themselves. But
I've pulled my punches
yeah,
many times. Put it that way. I roll natural 20 for the, and I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. Um, and so there's plenty, as a dungeon master or game master, like sometimes, yeah, you just want to let the dice do what they do. But then there's times when, the party's in trouble and you want to give them an out. And, because and again, like it may be a story thing. You want to, it may be something in my mind, like I want this story to continue in a certain way. Or it's like, okay, this person's taking a lot of punishment tonight. I'm just going to give them
had
an
a
out.
bad week in
Yeah,
general, and this is like their relaxed time. And you're like,
exactly.
maybe they stepped into the dungeon and they got that arrow trap, and you're like,
Exactly.
oh, you set up an arrow, but don't worry, it missed you,
And then
or it's
there's
in 1 point of damage.
and then we have the opposite.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
group I was telling you about, I was running them through the big tomb of annihilation, and one of the players, yeah, I mean he was a really funny guy, Liam. He kid was just awesome, but he is almost like he wanted his character to die. I think he went through like three different characters, and I'm like, and they first show up inside the tomb, for example, and I'm like, okay, down at the end of the tomb, there's this carved devil head that's in the wall, and within the center of its wide open gaping mouth is a dark hole which you can't see into. He's like, oh, I run in and jump into it. I'm like,
fire.
I'm like, okay, roll another character.
Yeah,
And then
that's
his
hilarious.
brother Owen, like they just first arrive in hell, right? And I'm like, and the skies above you are boiling, roiling, and you see the like tornadoes of dark energy descending from the sky, and then coming out of one is this huge winged figure just flying past, and it was supposed to just fly over for flavor, and fly away. And
Yeah,
he's like, I shout at it, come and get us. I'm like, oh God, right? So, and he's a paladin. He thought he could handle this. I'm like, anyway, he
it's like I
died
have a
right
big
there.
sword and a few spells.
I'm like, I'm gonna
So
roll
it's like,
this, have it
hump.
rolls. Yeah. So it's
Yeah,
like, do you really want to fight a
yeah.
battle right now? No.
Like my friend Matthew, he told you about him before. He has Barrows and Borderlands. That's my main game actually. It's my weekly game. Sometimes bi-weekly game. That's where I'm the player. I'm like having fun and stuff like that. But like it's based on OD&D stuff, and it's like you walk into a room and if you don't do your investigation probably, you don't look for traps or whatever. Okay, cool. A pit opens up, you fall 30 feet, you get impaled by spikes, and yeah, you're dead. It doesn't matter. Like if you're having a bad day, a bad week, okay, cool. And you're gonna have a new character, so either start rolling or pick one out, and you get back to you in a little bit. I love it. See, I think I'm a bit weird in the sense. Well, I think most people in this hobby are weird, but anyway, I think about weird in a sense. I like lots of different kinds of games. I love Shadowdark. Like I said, I like my friends' game, Barrows and Borderlands. I like random little indie games here and there. I like a little bit of everything really, and I do prefer old school feel. I've no problem with playing, with like grab out a couple minis and play like a mini skirmish role playing game, not like in the scale of 4E, but like a smaller scale stuff where you might have 2, 3 characters and you have another 4 or 5 enemies out there. It's a bit more tactical about gameplay and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I like a wide array of stuff because I do. I feel like I need a little change every now and then, a little
Mhm.
something new to bite onto. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
for me that keeps things a little different. And every now and again, I haven't done this in a while. I break out AD&D, and I'm like,
Cool.
oh, if I want to get into super real, like, want to be anal about details and get everything right. For every
Oh
now and then,
yeah.
I just love that. And other times, I like just give me the most simplest game I can find. I'm like, there you
Maximum strength for a female is what, 17? Yeah. Yeah.
go. But yeah, like again, like you have all this stuff here. Like if you don't want the big collection and you just want the hardback, you get the hardback. But then you also have some really great add-ons. Maybe you want the hardback and then just a starting adventure, which in this says it takes up to level 5 if they survive, of course.
Yeah.
Um,
That's always
yeah,
like
like and
a
all
plus.
this stuff is very well priced, very fair. And like you have pre-made characters, they've got awesome art pieces in themselves as well. That's kind of like the way Kelsey had her original Kickstarter. You'd have your pre-made character on one side and then the art piece on the other, which is
Yeah.
brilliant to see that
Like
again with this awesome art.
to me, like
Eldolf.
you'll get the PDFs of these too. So if you want
Yeah.
to keep them as a collector, like I have not made a single mark on any of the ones I got from the Shadowdark campaign. For me, they're just on my shelf
Yeah.
as collectible. So
A lot of people do that.
that's the same thing with this. It's like these are just collectible, but if you want to, you can also print it out and use it. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure there are people who will who will just use them, but I never would. I would just keep them as a collection. Um,
Yeah. I think I know why. I think when you get a bit older, like even myself, I'm like, oh yeah, I paid money for this. But if I was like 14, I'd be like, give me that cool looking card. This is my character.
right.
you know, I think that's part of it because I think you appreciate certain things as you get older, as well.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
I appreciate art more now than I did even 10 years ago and 10 years before that. So
I was like, I think I'm one of the people who is super. I was so inspired by the art. It's one of the reasons I became an artist. Dungeons and Dragons is
mm,
probably the reason I became an artist. When I was like 10 and 11, 12, 13 years old, all I did was draw and redraw all the art from the monster manual, the player's handbook, and the dungeon master's guide. I mean, my notebooks as a kid were just filled with my reproductions of all the art in those books, and it's the reason I became an artist, really. And I was lucky enough
yeah,
to have a dad who didn't believe that Satan was trying to claw out of the books at us.
yeah, the satanic panic. I think that's funny. Thinking looking back on it now, because the whole idea Gary and like Anderson had was you're the good guys fighting against the evil demons and monsters. But it's like this whole media thing was, oh well, the whole media thing was, oh well, demons and devils are mentioned. That means it's about summoning them to like kill your family or some craziness like that.
Yeah.
They needed to create a story because they had nothing good to report. That's it.
Oh,
That's my
yeah.
opinion.
It was like, yeah, you read about it. And my grandparents, who were holy rollers, like they went to
Mm.
all these ultra Christian churches, they tried to do an intervention with my brother and I. And so they like literally like ambushed us. They had us over to their house. They knew my dad wasn't around. And they told us that they were so afraid, and they were sincerely afraid that we were going to burn in hell. And for real, like that, it was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
begged us. They were like, please stop playing Dungeons and Dragons, and like it's the devil. It's your souls are gonna burn in hell. You'll be lost forever. And we just sat there, sort of stunned, and laughed at it, and then we told our dad about it, and he just was like, whatever, like,
Yeah.
I'll buy you some more books. But it didn't. Luckily, they weren't our parents, and it turned out, we didn't burn in hell, and we didn't get possessed by the devil, and all that. So,
Helped inspired you have this career of art in
yeah,
different industries, and which again, you're insanely creative, obviously. And the more you talk, I'm like, Jesus, he's done this, he's done that. He's like, oh, I was professional GM for a while. I create art for movies and TV shows. Casually mention how amazing you are. I'm one of these people. You give me a ruler and a pencil, that line ain't gonna be straight. I'm sorry. Yeah.
yeah.
It's
No,
gonna be like somehow. Like, how? This is like the physics doesn't make sense.
you could be a modern artist. Just throw the paint at the wall.
Hey, that's a good idea.
Flick, flick.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I'm gonna do the next time you see me, I'll be wearing like a little hat, a little beret, or something like that. Some thick rim glasses, maybe a wig.
Yeah.
But yeah, like again,
you gotta have the wig.
the white wig, polo neck, everything.
When I was like 22 and 3 years old, I had the long hair. I was painting murals all over Miami. Like I was like full on artiste, doing all portraits and stuff. So I was actually making a living as an artist, and I was painting sets too for like set decoration on films. And I started off in live action, like down in Miami, and eventually I started learning animation. Taught myself animation, how to animate.
That's amazing.
But yeah, I had the whole art. Or I don't have hair anymore on top of my head, so it's yeah. Those days are long gone.
See, this is why I'm a dwarven supremacist.
Yeah.
That's what I always say. Anyone who's a role playing games and fantasy, I'm like, yeah, I'm a dwarven supremacist. I always have the same character as well. In every game, there is one character in the world, or my own character, called Baron Stonehouse. He's my first ever character I created. He's in everything. Even if I play video games and there's a dwarf, first time I always pick dwarf, fighter, Baron Stonehouse.
Oh my god! I'm the opposite. I change it up every single time. Something different.
It's my homage to this character.
I like
doing character ever exist.
Like one of the things I like about like 5e and Pathfinder is that if you wanted to be a halfling barbarian, which one of my favorite characters was Bregan Hillspringer, a halfling barbarian, like you actually couldn't be as strong as a real barbarian. But in his mind, he thought he was as strong and terrifying as a real barbarian. So like these days, of course, you can make your halfling have like 25 strength, whatever. It's so ridiculous. But back then, it was like you actually had to have a kind of a half insane halfling that believed he was super strong. So I would do like
compared to all my friends.
I have a dwarf archer monk. Like that. It was something I would always try to use. A race that in a class where they didn't belong. And I didn't care if the stats,
slight mishmash.
Right. I didn't care if the stats worked out, whatever. It's like, I loved the fact that it made it more fun to role play. And, sometimes to the annoyance of the dungeon master, because like some of my characters were, they were really annoying, but it was fun for me.
Imagine you playing like some like giant cleric using in heavy armor, but using a bow. He's trying to sneak it, but then all the armor is making so much noise all the time. Just to mess around.
A half orc, a half orc thief. Who's trying to like climb walls, but has a dexterity of like 9. But
he's like,
yeah,
I'll get over this wall.
He's got so many hit points that even though he falls like half the time, he's okay. I'm all right. I'll just try again.
He makes so much noise. He alerts everyone. Worst assassin ever.
Exactly.
But yeah, I absolutely loved like the book you sent me a while ago, and again, you've expanded upon it so much, and you have still to expand upon more with your stretch goals and stuff, which is crazy. But the feel of the world is there. You have the way, like I said earlier, the way you have things laid out. You get a sense of culture, of festivals, of themes. Like it's not always about war and adventuring. The adventures conclude, and then you go back to your towns or cities or villages, and you're going to interact with your carousing. And the way you have done it, it works out really well, and it makes sense for the world setting you're using, obviously. And again, it's bringing these books which you've talked about, which I have to read now. As you've talked about, I was like, oh, I find them on Audible, because that's what I do. I will listen to books in and at work, so I'm traveling to and from, and it just helps pass the time. But
they're
yeah,
incredible to
it's
listen to, by the way. I mean, I haven't listened to them, but I've heard that they're incredible because the way Brian Jocks writes, he writes the accents. So as you're reading it, like "Burroy, might that be or interesting?" And so the mole speech is written. It's actually takes a long time to learn how to read it, like because
oh cool.
the accents are
Yeah.
all written in there, and then including like so every species, not every species, most species have their own accent. So the moles have theirs, the hedgehogs have theirs, the squirrels, um, the squirrels and the mice have the most standard. The most standard English accent. So if you're going to be the regular, if you're going to be a mouse and you're going to be the abbot of Redwall, you're going to have a normal sort of accent. But then if you're the cellar hog, you're going to be like, all right, brought up the latest cordial for y'all, and it's going to be this has been brewing it for
Yorkshire.
so
Yeah,
you
Yorkshire
pull in,
accent.
and they're all written in there in the book. So when you're reading it out loud, it teaches you how to read those accents because of the way it's
That's
written.
awesome.
Uh,
You're
and then
selling this even harder,
so
along with your own project.
the
But
audiobooks are awesome. Yeah.
yeah, because I think even read one or two of these books will help inform people even more from just not only just reading your own material, but the idea and the feel of things. Because the art evokes a lot of the feel, obviously, because it's visual. The way you have things laid out and the ideas you've presented in the book, everything informs in everything, and that's one thing I really like is it all flows together really well, and it just binds everything together like a really good dough. So, do we have our dough? And when you, the players, are playing it or GMing it, that's you baking the bread and then getting to enjoy it. So we have this great, amazing base, and all you have to do is play it and bake it.
That's an awesome analogy.
uh, yeah, I'm making myself sound better than I am. It's a good day. But yeah, I don't know if you can tell, I'm quite excited for this. The project's done insanely well as it is already. Like the first day you had like what 50,000. You have 1,067 backers. It's currently at $86,432, and
Wow.
you still have 22 days to go, which is
Mhm.
crazy. I think
Yeah.
at this rate, you're probably going to hit 120 ish if it continues.
That's what
Which
that's what
that'd be great. Oh,
yeah. Oh, that would be amazing. That means I'm actually paying myself
the top,
back, and from
yeah.
all the time and energy and that we put into it, and I'll be able to pay all the artists, even more to do more art. I think
Mm,
that's the thing. I still have 25 pieces of art left to do on my
mm,
list, and it's probably going to continue to grow. Well, I have more than that now because I have these new ancestries and the new class and the new minis to do. So it's a lot of art still left to go in there.
yeah,
Plus, in the adventure itself, there's a lot of maps that still have to be done. Cameron Mass, who's done the mapping for Shadowdark, is going to be helping out for that, and also
that's
doing
cool.
yeah, he's going to be doing some illustrations too, which I'm excited about. So, um, and
That's
then
awesome.
Ken and James did the cover to the adventure, which is the bad baddie is right on the cover, which is really cool. And then so there's a lot left to do. So I'm glad we have the resources to do it now.
Yeah, because then you have to also people need to remember is the Kickstarter isn't the end; it's start of the beginning.
Yeah,
where hopefully
sure.
on the back end, more people will hear about it, they get interested in it, and then are you going to have a print on demand as well eventually, or is it going to
Yeah.
be so people will be able to
Well,
get that?
yes, eventually.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
a while.
the the print and demand of the all the ancillary adventures will probably come first. The
Okay.
like the adventure, the player's journal. Just so everyone knows, the player's journal is already print on demand. And the reason
Mhm.
I'm doing that is because if you go to Drive Through RPG, and if you get the code from us for your player's journals, you pay $6 for it, and you go to our Drive Through RPG, in your box you can add as many as you want. Um, I mean, you still pay for printing and shipping,
Yeah,
but it's only gonna be like $2 to print them, and then if you order like six of them, the shipping's a lot cheaper, right? So then all
yeah,
six ship under as one shipment. So if you have six players and you want to get each of them one of the books, you only need one code. You don't have to buy it from me six times. So that's
yeah.
why I'm doing that as print on demand, so that GMs or players can order as many journals as they want for the players. Yeah.
And then they're going to look nice. They're going to be pretty good quality as well.
Oh yeah,
Instead of printing at home, because printing at home can be way more. It's way more expensive than like
yeah.
the at cost printing stuff.
Drive through RPG is good. Yeah, the quality is good.
Yeah,
The final
and
book is going to come from an offset printer, a real offset printer. It's
yeah,
going to be
yeah, of
full
course.
leather bound with silver printing, and um, it's going to be really nice. Like it's like heavy cardstock or heavy paper stock.
Paper, yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
with a black
Because
ribbon in it,
like,
everything. We didn't do a stretch goal for that because I'm like, I don't want to wait for a stretch goal to make it the collector's edition. I want the
yeah,
actual version, the only version out there to be the collector's edition, because that's what I want on my shelf. And that's like, why I might as well charge the same thing and make it the collector's edition. So
I'm gonna take a guess at this as well. You're probably gonna have some extra copies as well to sell on
awesome.
yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll get them. We'll bring them to any of the cons that we go to. I mean,
awesome.
I have a super busy full time job right now, so it's not I can't hit cons like a lot of
Yeah,
publishers can, who are actually doing this for a living or a partial living. Um, but we'll bring them to any of the cons that we do go to, so we
that's
can
awesome.
sell them there, and then we'll also have them for sale online on from our website. And Nicole finally has our board game up on Amazon for sale. So um, we might be actually be able to get them up on Amazon for sale, which would be great, free shipping and everything. So we'll
That's
see.
awesome.
Yeah.
I'll throw that up here actually. Just give me one sec. This is available in North America. Yeah,
Her board game. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's called Haunted Halloween, the Trick or Treat game. This was a Kickstarter that she launched in 2013 and did pretty well. And then we've got them for sale now, and we're actually about to order a second shipment of games.
Sorry. Yeah, and I will put this up now. Ta-da! Wait, did I bring it up?
No.
Oh, there we go. I was looking at it. There we go.
Oh, there it
Yeah,
is.
so we have it here. It's a Halloween themed game. It's for
Yeah,
kids
it's
and
a
adults, which is awesome.
well, yeah. I mean, it's a family game. It,
Yeah.
kids love it. We just got a really great review from the Dice Tower on it, which
Oh yeah, I know
she
Dice
posted
Tower.
out there.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it just got in the finalist for one of the big Halloween awards out there. So hopefully
That's cool.
we'll win that. Who knows? I think Nicole's going to go out to Vegas to the Halloween convention out there, and we're going to be at one of the biggest Halloween conventions in North America at the end of the month, which is in Orlando, Florida, um, and we're going to set up a booth there. So we've set up a booth a couple times for this already at some cons, and we've sold a bunch of games there. It's done really well. We have a good fan base for this that's slowly building up. So, and she did a deluxe version also, which isn't for sale on Amazon. It's for sale on our website, but we only have about 25 of them left, and that had 3D miniatures instead of the standees. But
Nice.
it's a great
Yeah,
guy.
I have that here as well.
The artist is she's in England, actually in the UK. Who did all the art
deluxe version here. There you go.
There's the deluxe edition. Comes with the candy corn trays. So this is
it looks like lots of fun.
It's just North America,
especially with kids.
Yeah, Halloween is such a big deal here in North America.
Yeah,
this is where the big market for it is.
Yeah, big time.
This is
here. It's like
of love.
It's fun, but it's not like the biggest thing ever. But yeah, like you guys are clearly very talented people. You guys are creating lots of different things. You're moving more into obviously you're moving to Shadowdark now, with this. People are gonna love it. I know I keep talking about it, but I am very excited for it. Like just the feel of everything is there. It feels like a complete world. It's not something that's just tacked on with a bunch of random tables of blah blah blah. It's well produced, well put together. Layout is great. It all flows, like I said, well. We have this amazing dough, and it's up to the players and the GMs to bake that and have fun. But yeah, again, I want to thank you for doing this. Is there anything else you want to add in?
No, I think we covered too much already. we got.
I'm sorry.
All over the place.
A little bit, yeah.
That's fun. It's been super fun. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so this is the Tuesday. I'll have this up on Wednesday, 3 p.m. GMT +1. But yeah, I want to thank you again for coming on and for, like I said, I have for sending me out that copy a few months ago. Again, it's been expanded on massively. If you guys want to check it out to get an idea of what it is, you can watch that video. Again, like I said at the beginning, I'll leave a link in the description in the pinned comment where you can find everything related for you guys, the Kickstarter, your stores. I'll put up the Amazon page for the game, the war game as well. Again, thank you for everything you're doing for not only myself but for all the gamers out there, YouTubers, and people at home who just want to have a good time.
Well, thank you so much, Yaron. This has been super fun, and I appreciate everything that you do too. So,
thank you. Like I said earlier, if it wasn't for people like you, idiots like me wouldn't be able to do this.
I think it goes both ways. Like, there's no way we could sell our wares, and without people getting awareness from people like you. It's like
that's great. Thank you so much.
We're one big happy family.
Now, guys, remember, check out the Kickstarter page. I think you're all gonna like it. It looks like lots of fun. So again, thank you, John. And hopefully talk to you again soon or some stage in the future. Good luck in your Kickstarter. I hope it blows up even more. Have a good day. Thank you, guys, and see you again soon.
Okay, bye.